All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, February 24th, 2022, and I want to thank everyone for coming to the latest installment of the AAPS Community Office Hours training sessions. For those who don't know, every month AAPS offers what we're calling office hours, which is an open time that our community leaders can come on to this virtual webinar platform and ask any question or pose any comment that they have about the community. And oftentimes these sessions are paired with a training. The training for the month of February is a community dialogue for our member engagement managers. So our community platform is led by some wonderful community leaders, and all of our community leaders play such an integral role to make sure that our communities run very smoothly and provide value to our members. But our member engagement managers are really posed to help create a dialogue with our community members and make sure that our community members are really using the community platform to its utmost potential. So I'm really excited to present this training today and to discuss how our member engagement managers can continue to make sure that they're providing the most value possible for our community members. So without further ado, let us get started. I just want to start by saying a warm welcome to all of our community engagement managers. We just had a really wonderful leadership retreat with AAPS this week, where we discussed how we can continue to provide value to our members and how we can make sure that our members are really utilizing some of the great tools that AAPS provides, including the community platform. So I'm really excited to continue that dialogue today with a presentation geared specifically for our engagement managers, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And if you have any questions about how you can best be using this platform, then I'm extremely happy to answer it. And I'm very, very pleased that we have the AAPS team here as well, so we can all work together and brainstorm how we can best use this wonderful tool to our advantage. So I wanted to start this training with a question, and the question is, what action items are you accomplishing within your communities? All of our communities have goals that they want to accomplish within the 2022 calendar year. So I really want to start this presentation off with, what action items are you accomplishing? And you can brainstorm this or write this down, but this is a through line throughout the entire training session today for office hours that I really want everyone to think about. What are you personally trying to accomplish this year? What goals do you have? Thinking about our SMART goals that we talked about last month. And how are you setting yourself up for success in order to accomplish these action items? And I have some examples of action items that we can use in the next few slides. The very first one I wanted to touch upon today is to stimulate community interest. This is a big one. So some action items here. Well, essentially, before I go into the action items, what exactly do I mean by this? AAPS offers this community platform, and I think it's a really, really great membership incentive that you can hop onto the community platform and really communicate with your colleagues and your peers and people who share common interests with you, and share scientific discussion and resources and research papers and articles. However, it's really important to know, if you have never even heard of the community platform, try to imagine it. If you perhaps are new to AAPS, you just joined AAPS as a member, how would you like to be told about the community platform? How are we going to entice people to use it? Because think about it, new members might not know what the community platform even offers. So some action items in order to stimulate community interest include the following. The very first one I put here is promote the community platform to your colleagues. As a reminder, the community platform, besides the main AAPS community, which is open to everyone, is restricted to AAPS members. So members have the ability to join different communities. So think about that when you're trying to think to yourself, how am I going to encourage people to use the community platform? Start close to home, start with your colleagues. Your colleagues may be AAPS members, but perhaps they don't know about the community platform, or maybe they've logged in once or twice, but they don't really know the full potential of the platform. It always helps to promote it to people who you know, and to give your own personal recommendation as to why this platform is so important. And what I would say is a really great tool that we can use, and this is the second bullet point here, is to post about the community platform on your personal social media accounts. Now, this is a really big one. If you're active on social media, which I know many of you are, using your personal social media accounts really takes it one step further in order to promote the great items that AAPS offers, including the community platform. Think about it. This is really your own way to share reviews and recommendations is on social media. I don't know about you all, but I know for me personally, when I see a friend post about a restaurant or a movie or a show or something on their own personal social media accounts, that makes me want to go check it out, because I know that my friend, I respect their opinion and they're really taking the time to promote something. I'm thinking to myself, wow, this must be really good. I want to check it out too. You can help further AAPS's mission by doing that yourself. If your colleagues and your social network sees that you're posting about the AAPS community platform, I would say to myself, if I saw that, I'd say, wow, my colleague really must appreciate the resources provided by the AAPS community platform. I'm going to log in and I'm going to see how I can become a member, because I want to check that out too. So really leveraging your personal social media accounts to further community interest, I think, is a #1 action item that I would encourage everyone to try out in 2022. And one great thing about social media is that AAPS is active across many social media accounts. We have an active LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We also have YouTube as well. So using social media and promoting AAPS has never been easier, because you can tag AAPS in the post, so then we can see it as well, and we can further that interaction. I included right here on this slide, you'll see the AAPS Twitter handle. That's at AAPS Comms. And for the other social media accounts, you can just tag American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists, AAPS. And that's just a really good way to make sure that not only is your own personal social media network seeing what you're sharing, but also we at AAPS can see it as well. And then we can help share it and further that reach. And again, it really doesn't take, a heavy lift. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have exam page 468.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I should actually start out, and I should have started out with this, but if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer them. You can put them in the chat. And I can answer any questions or comments you may have. And then also we'll have a question and answer period at the end of the training, in which I can unmute everyone. And you can pose your questions that way if you prefer. Great. So essentially, going back to what I was saying right here with our social network sites is, putting your own personal spin on promoting AAPS has never been easier. You can tag AAPS in the posts. And like I was saying before, it really doesn't take a heavy lift to do. All you need to do is just do maybe 1 post a month, or perhaps 2. And you can really further AAPS's reach by doing that. We might be even reaching people who, again, maybe have gone to an AAPS event, maybe have heard of AAPS, but this way they are saying to themselves, wow, this community platform must be really cool. I'm going to check it out. So those are two action items that I wanted to bring up for our member engagement managers. Now, this is a big one for me, drive online conversations. And if you've been to an Ask AAPS Anything office hours training session in the past, you'll know that this is one of my favorite action items to talk about, because one of the big benefits of the AAPS community platform is the ability to drive online scientific conversations. That's one of the main reasons why the community platform was created. You know, if you want to talk about the latest innovations, if you want to ask for assistance, if you want to perhaps gather a team to write an article or a white paper, you can drive those online conversations directly through the AAPS community platform. And that's such a wonderful tool because, again, through the community platform, you're connected with scientists of similar interests. So you know that you're getting an expert approach right there within the community platform. So I have some action items here that really specifically tie into the goal of driving online conversations. And before I get into the action items, I just wanted to say a quick note that from reading through our community leaders' goals for 2022, I see that many people talk about driving online conversations as a big one for this year. So I really want to spend some ample time on this slide, really going over some of the action items that fall under this category. The very first one right here is to create monthly open-ended discussion threads in your community. So what exactly does that mean? Every one of our communities on the AAPS community platform has the ability for you to start discussion threads, scientific discussion threads. Creating a scientific discussion in our community platform is a really good way to kind of show the mental prowess of your community. You know, think about it. If you are brand new to the community, you have never been on it before, and you logged into the community platform and you don't see any conversations going on, you may be hesitant to write something yourself, or you may be even thinking to yourself, maybe this isn't the place to pose my scientific conversations. So you as the member engagement managers really need to get the ball rolling with this, because creating one conversation will inspire others to create conversations as well. So a big action item for you, I really want to promote, is to strive to create one monthly open-ended discussion thread a month. Again, you can, something that I think really helps me when I'm trying to come up with discussion threads is I try to plan out about 6 months in advance. So take, you know, a moment to think, what are some discussion threads I could post about? And you can schedule those posts in advance. So in a single afternoon, you can schedule your posts for this month, for March, April, May, June, etc. And you can be done for the next 6 months, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can just schedule them to post on, you know, maybe the first Tuesday of every month, for example. So it's never been easier to start a discussion thread in your community. And again, taking that step to start a discussion thread is a really great way to showcase that there are some really active, engaged scientists in your community. And that's why more people should join. So again, think about it. If you were to pass by a restaurant that had no one in it, or you were to pass by a restaurant that was filled with people, I want to, you know, let you all think, which one would you rather go into? For me personally, I'd rather go into the very crowded one, because I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's a lot going on here. This must be a really popular happening place. Rather, the restaurant that has no one in it, I might be a little hesitant to join. So again, think about that in the context of how you can promote the community platform. If someone logs into the community platform for the first time and sees that your community is filled with many different discussion threads with a lot of different events happening, that would seem more enticing. So really try to get the ball rolling this year with creating those discussion threads. This next bullet point really ties into the first, which is to tag community members into the discussion threads to stimulate conversation. So what exactly do I mean by that? Sometimes we'll start a discussion thread and it may feel a bit disheartening when no one responds. But I do want to make a note about that before I go any further. No, we live in an age where there's so many different online conversations going on at once. It can feel a little inundating, but that's totally fine. We have what we're called, doers and lurkers, and doers on, online platforms or social media platforms. They're the one that's actually posting, sharing, liking. But then there are also the lurkers, and they might not be doing those things, but they're still reading what's being posted and they're still benefiting from that information. So even if no one's responding to your discussion thread, it's really important to note that that doesn't mean that no one's benefiting from that information. Many people probably are, they just don't know how to get engaged. So as member engagement managers, you can really help show them the way. And something that I've found really helped me in the past few months is I've started to tag community members into online discussion threads in the community platform. And by doing that, all you need to do is press the @ symbol. And I have a little example right here. I did @ Stacey Axler. And once you start typing a community member's name, like my name, or perhaps you want to tag your community chair to get them into the conversation, to help provide their feedback or their expertise into a certain manner. It really helps to show people like, oh, if I have any question about this, maybe I should reach out to Stacey Axler. Maybe I should reach out to the community chair. It's a good way to show your community members who to reach out to more about a particular topic, but it's also a way to get the conversation going. If someone posts a discussion thread and you're reading it and you're saying, I don't know too much about this, but my colleague blank specializes in this, you can tag them into the discussion thread and you can help really get the conversation moving. And something that I would like to say is it never hurts to say, I don't know about this, but my colleague blank or our community chair blank really has a lot of experience in this manner. In fact, responding to a discussion thread is a really good way to keep the conversations online. And it never hurts to say, I'm not an expert in this, but I know someone who is. And maybe you are the expert and you can provide the answer. But striving to create at least one answer per discussion thread is a really great way to get the conversations moving. And that flows directly into my third bullet point here. My third bullet point here is that we should ensure that all scientific discussions have at least one reply. Something that I've been doing the last few months is if I see a discussion thread that hasn't been responded to yet, I will help by tagging the community leadership into it. But again, we're all on the same team and we're all working together on this. So if you see that I haven't responded to the discussion thread yet, I would really encourage you all to jump on to tag the rest of your community leadership team and to help get everyone the information that they need. Because again, think about it. If someone's new to your community and they create a scientific discussion thread and no one responds to it, that can feel a little bit disheartening. They may not want to create another scientific discussion thread in the future. They may even become less active in the community because they might think to themselves, oh, I never received a response. Maybe this isn't the place to put my scientific discussion thread. Maybe I should go elsewhere. So really taking that time to ensure that all scientific discussion threads have a response is really important to making sure that our scientific conversations are very active on the community platform. I want to take a moment to talk about this next point, which is moderating community content. Moderating community content is rather open-ended. And what I mean by that is how we as community leaders can ensure that our community has all of the resources that we need for our members to be set up for success. So we have a lot of community content. Obviously, the discussion threads are a really big one, but there's so much more to our community. And I'm actually going to show an example from within the community momentarily. But I do want to say just speaking off the cuff about it, we don't just have discussion threads. We have a community calendar where we can advertise our webinars and our event offerings. We have a whole library system where we can include articles and other relevant information. So again, using our community and moderating that content is a really big part of your role as the member engagement manager. And like I indicated, I want to show you all exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment while I open up a web browser. And then I'm going to share it with you. What you all should be seeing now is the main page, the home page of the AAPS community platform. So from here, I wanted to talk about exactly what I was referring to with all of the different community content that you can help moderate. By doing that, I'm just going to head to all communities. I'm going to click on the main AAPS community. And I really want to use this one as an example. Again, we just spent a good deal of time talking about our discussion threads, but looking through our discussion threads is a way that we can moderate community content. Even if we're not posting a discussion thread actively, we can still help to monitor it. So for example, as we're scrolling through the discussion threads, you can see what discussion threads have received replies through this icon here on the right. There's the heading of replies, and then you see every subsequent discussion thread has an associated number. That number refers to how many replies the original post has received. So as you can see, this post has 5, this post has 1, this post has 70, which is wonderful, but some of these posts here have 0. As the community engagement managers, you can help by looking through this. And again, if you see that a discussion thread from, a day or two ago have 0 replies, that's a really good time for you to kind of step in and offer a reply. Again, even if you don't know how to reply, you can always tag in another community leader, a colleague, or someone who you feel would better handle that question. Or you could always tag me if it has something to do with the community platform in general, or maybe a question, about how to post on social media. You can tag me as well. So there are different ways that we can respond to our discussion threads, but this is a way that we can make sure that all of our discussion threads are replied to. Again, going back up to the top of the community, wanted to take a moment to click on the library icon. The library icon is another wonderful resource that we offer through the communities. And this is a way that we can help to moderate our community, is by making sure that our library is up to date. So as you can see, our library has the ability to be separated out into relevant folders. So the folders here within the main folder for the library is Ask the Experts, for example. So whenever we have an Ask the Experts session, we put all the relevant PDFs and materials right here in this subfolder, PharmSci 360 newsletters, and it keeps going on further and further. So again, as the member engagement manager, you might think to yourself, oh, maybe I'll help organize my library like that. Maybe you'll want a folder for perhaps, meeting minutes. Maybe you'll want a folder for webinar slides. One great thing about the community library is that it accepts all types of different files. So you can do PDFs, you can do slideshows, you can do Word documents. It all fits here. Another thing that I really like about the library files is that when you add a library file, you can see specifically how many people viewed your file and how many people downloaded it. And that's a really, really great tool. You know, if you have attended a webinar in the past and you thought to yourself, oh, you know, that webinar was really great, I'm going to download those slides. You are having the ability to look at those slides in the future. And that's so important because, again, that's more value that you're getting from that. The people who are putting on the webinar, let's say it's your community, they might want to say, oh, well, you know, attendance for that webinar was really great, but I wondered to myself, how many people actually took the time to look at the slides? Well, one great thing about the AAPS community platform is that we don't have to wonder that. It tells us that information. So as you can see, some of the top documents that are up here, we can see the date that they were posted. We can see what the topic is. And then right here on the bottom, we have two icons. One is a binocular that stands for views, and one is an arrow facing down. That is the download icon. So again, from there, we can see that this has received almost 900 views, meaning 900 separate people have clicked on this to view it, and then 100 downloads, meaning that this document has been downloaded 100 times, which is great. So again, that's really wonderful information that you can take back to the entire community leadership team and say, you know, our webinar was very successful. Not only was it successful with attendees at that time, but we received almost 900 views on those slides and 100 downloads. People were really valuing that information. And that's great to know because, again, setting up SMART goals for your community means that you need to be able to measure those goals. So being able to quantify it and say that your events are very popular will really help you as you plan for future events. And I don't even just mean future in 2022. I also mean future moving forward, looking ahead to 2023 and beyond. It really helps see what our members are valuing so we can continue to deliver that in the future. Another way that you can assist as community engagement managers is through adding events. Our community platform is great because it has an event calendar built into it. So if you have any upcoming events, perhaps it's a webinar, perhaps it's an all community meeting, you can add it to the event calendar. Doing that has never been easier. All you need to do is click on this orange button here to add event. You can click on it. You can type in all of the relevant event information. You can save. And then once you save, the event will be listed right here in your community calendar. And again, something that I've been talking about throughout this entire presentation is making sure our communities are active. And I know that all of our communities are active, but sometimes I think we need to really promote how active our communities are and really put that at the forefront. So again, if you've just joined a community and you're looking around, one great thing about the community platform is that it says how many upcoming events there are, and that's the number that's right here. We have 5 upcoming events. Some of these are eChalk Talks, some of these are workshops. NBC is going to come up sooner than we even know. So that's in May, so that's on here as well. But I say all that to say, if you've joined a community and the community is not promoting their upcoming events, it's going to say 0 here. And again, if you're thinking about you join the community and you see that there are 0 upcoming events, you might say, oh, well, I was really looking forward to joining a community that does have a lot of upcoming events. I was really hoping for a webinar or even a community meeting to meet my fellow community members. So again, if you are promoting those events, perhaps you're promoting them in the discussion thread, and that's fine to do, but I would certainly encourage you to take that next step and to put it in the events portion of your event calendar for your community, because that's a really great way that new community members can see exactly what's happening. I also would encourage you all, if you do have an event coming up, to put it in this main AAPS community in our upcoming announcements thread. Our upcoming announcements thread is right here. It's labeled AAPS announcements and upcoming events. It's usually one of the first few posts at the top here. And as you can see, 9 days ago, Nivedita posted about a community event. This is a really great thread because it basically houses all of our community events in one place. And that's really useful because one, it creates an archive of all the wonderful events that we have, which is always good to keep on file, but also it keeps everything organized into a single thread. So it's much easier to find this way. And that makes it more user-friendly for both new and old community members. You don't have to look far and wide. Everything's right here in the announcements thread. So as member engagement managers, what I would encourage you all to do is when you've promoted a community event in your community calendar, hop onto this thread, click on the reply button. And then as you can see all of these community leaders here who have posted about upcoming events. When you post on this thread, your event will become the latest post. So as you can see, Nivedita's post is right here. This is a really great post because again, it talks about the community, what the event is, and how to register. It doesn't have to be a very long post if you don't want to, just include all the relevant information. But again, this is a way to promote your community and also to let people both in and outside of the community know what's going on. Because again, with the AAPS community, both members and non-members can join it. So this might be a way to encourage even people to become a member and join your community. If you're hosting some really great events, I truly encourage you to take that step and promote it here. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute while I begin to share the PowerPoint again. Great, you all should be seeing the PowerPoint again. So we just did a step-by-step on how to moderate community content, but let's review the action items for that. Again, what I was talking about, this is a very, very big thing, is to ensure your community is updated with the latest information. So that's events, meeting minutes, discussion threads, and more. One great thing about our community is that we can really promote all the different types of wonderful things our community is doing, whether we're publishing a white paper or hosting a webinar series or hosting a lot of really great scientific discussions. We can promote it all through the community platform through those different content windows, adding it to our community calendar, posting a new library file, and even more. So making sure that our community is updated is one of the main action items that I would really encourage you all to focus on in 2022. And again, one great thing about our discussion threads is that you can reply to discussion threads throughout the year. It's not just a one and done thing. You can create a discussion thread for your community. Perhaps it's monthly community calls, and you can just keep replying to that original thread. That will create less work for you. And then also you can use that thread to attach, your meeting minutes as well after the event. And that's a really great thing too, because when you add an attachment to a discussion thread, it will automatically be duplicated into your community library. So again, that saves you time, that saves you effort. You can do these little tricks to make your job so much easier. Another thing that you can assist with as the community engagement manager is assist with flagging inappropriate content. And I'm going to go over that, but just as an aside before we get into that, there occasionally, sometimes people are new to the community platform and they may not know exactly how to use it best. So taking the time, if you see a comment that maybe doesn't belong in the community, perhaps they have mistakenly found a wrong community, you can assist in flagging it as inappropriate, and that will trigger an email to me and the AAPS team, and then we can investigate it further. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about that. Again, we're back in the community platform, and I just want to give a demonstration on how to do what I was just describing. So let's say, for example, we see Nivedita's post here. Let's say, for example, this was a non-AAPS event, because as a reminder, our AAPS community platform is only for AAPS events. So let's say it doesn't belong here. As a community leader, you have the power in your community to select this drop down icon here. It's this little arrow down. And then you can scroll to this third item and click mark as inappropriate. Again, when you mark something as inappropriate, that will kind of remove it to the back end of the community platform, and it will trigger an email to me and the AAPS team, and then we can give it further investigation. So again, I did want to highlight that that is something that you all can do as member engagement managers to, again, help make sure that our community platform are really a place for scientific conversation and scientific discussion and dialogue. So you can really help drive that forward, not only by encouraging and promoting the right way to do things, but also for occasionally removing perhaps the wrong way to do things. All right. So that was a lot of information, but with all of that being said, I do want to pose this question for you. What action item or action items will you work on this year? And if you would like, you can place your ideas in the chat. And if you want, I can unmute everyone and we can have a dialogue about it. So whatever you prefer, I'll give everyone a minute or two to type in the chat. And if you're still brainstorming, that's totally, oh. Kim, I think that's a great idea. Kim said sharing posts and creating threads for discussions. Totally agree. You know, Kim, I think one of the greatest things to do is to share posts on social media, and not just sharing, but also making sure to tag AAPS in the post so that we can see it as well and continue to share it. I think that's a great idea. And creating discussion threads, again, that's one of my favorite abilities of the community platform. So I think those are two really great action items. And then Maria, thank you for this, sharing community goals with community members. Totally agree. You know, once you've created your goals, and I know all of our communities have great goals, making sure to promote that goals within those goals, I should say, within the community platform is a great way to encourage engagement because it helps everyone be on the same page. So again, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, you know, no one really cares about our community goals. Well, I think it really helps unite everyone to know what the goals for the community are. And I also think it helps just keep everyone in the loop. If one of your community goals is to host, you know, 4 webinars, maybe 1 per quarter, that will be really good information for, let's just say, if someone joined the community and they're reading through your community goals, they'll say, oh, that means there's a new webinar coming up. I definitely want to attend. So if you haven't already, I truly encourage everyone to share your community goals within your community. It helps keep everyone aligned and it helps keep everyone aware of what's happening in your community. I wanted to include this slide because I am available to assist with all of your community goals. That is me, Stacy Axler, the AAPS Community Manager, and my email is right there. I'm happy to assist. I really love the community platform. I love talking about it, and I'm happy to provide any information that you need or any resources you need to make your role as the member engagement manager as smooth as possible. So I'm always available to talk about the community's platform as well as social media. If you have any social media questions, always happy to answer them. And I know I just threw a lot of information out at you, so you still may be brainstorming and digesting, and that's totally fine. But even in an hour, if you have any questions about what I went through, I'm happy to hop on an email thread or a call to discuss it further. All right, now we have our question and answer period. So I am going to ask everyone if they would like to unmute, you can, or if you want to pose any question in the Zoom chat, you can.
Hello, Stacy.
Hi, Kim, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
I had a question about making collaborations with outside organizations. I was wondering, would it be better to make collaborations with like industry leaders or academic institutes? Like what we're focusing on for this year mostly? What would be the most beneficial to the community right now?
I think that's a great question. Maria, what do you think?
We welcome collaborations with both industry partners and academic institutions. I guess it depends on the topic and the maybe the experts that you want to participate in it and who's interested in the topic, the audience you're targeting. So that might help to make a decision about which direction to go. And if it's a partnership where we're trying to exchange anything, like any kind of a contract to exchange, like advertising, or if you're looking for an event where like two different organizations maybe would get a member rate, for example. We do have contracts available that we send to partners for events like that. So you can just contact us and we'll put you in touch with some of our coworkers that oversee the contract part, I guess, building relationships with partners.
Okay, thank you very much for that information.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
Do you have any other questions we could help with? We're happy to help.
Yeah, so I just got started in the preclinical community, but I was wondering, as far as like sharing posts, like are there any specific ones that we'd really want to promote, that I should focus on? I'm just trying to get an idea of where to start.
Definitely. I think any post in terms of social media sharing, any upcoming events, I think always work well, especially on LinkedIn. So if you share those there and tag AAPS, I'm happy to share those as well on AAPS's handle. Those work well on Twitter as well. But really anything, if you're having, an upcoming scientific discussion or really anything you would like to promote for your community, I'm happy to share.
Okay, yeah, so I can like sort of start on LinkedIn and then go from there.
That sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Thanks.
Of course.
I think also updates that things that your leadership team is working on, the average member probably doesn't know. So it's just a way to keep the members engaged and keep them informed and aware of what's happening in the leadership team. So even just simple updates after maybe leadership conference calls, those all I think are appreciated as well.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much, Kim. And if you have any other questions in the future, definitely please feel free to email me and pose them. I'm always available.
All right. Thank you so much, Stacy. I will definitely follow up with some more questions and get back to you by email.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. And that is it. So I will stop the recording and say thank you all for attending.